I'm thinking ahead. August 6, 2025, we'll call this meeting to order. Oh, yay, hello, Ben. All right, we are almost at quorum, and Jackie Spear is on her way, and that should do it, I think. Okay, as a reminder, tonight's meeting will have hybrid access with members attending in person and the public welcome to attend in person or remotely. For members of the public who wish to speak to the membership, please fill out a speaker's slip located at the entrance. And for those attending remotely, please use the Zoom raise hand feature to be recognized during public comment. For roll call tonight, we have a new member of the Roundtable who's just sitting down now. It's Ben White from the Mayor's Office of San Francisco. So welcome, Ben. We're really happy to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
So for roll call, we just want to make sure that Ben hears everyone's name and the town that they represent. I think we may have a quorum. Thank you. So Diane, please proceed with the roll call.
Thank you, Chair. City and County of San Francisco Board of Supervisors. Absent. City and County of San Francisco's Mayor's Office.
Ben White, present.
City and County of San Francisco Airport Commission.
Present.
Thank you. San Mateo County Board of Supervisors. CCAG Airport Land Use Commission. Absent. Town of Atherton. Absent. City of Belmont.
Tom McCune, present.
City of Brisbane. Absent. City of Burlingame. Absent. Town of Colma. Here. City of Daly City. Absent. City of East Palo Alto. Absent. City of Foster City.
Susie Niederhofer here.
City of Half Moon Bay.
Patrick Johnson here.
Town of Hillsborough.
Christine Krolik here.
City of Menlo Park. Absent. City of Millbrae.
Stephen Rinaldi, present.
City of Pacifica.
Christine Bowles, present.
Town of Portola Valley.
Rebecca Flynn, present.
City of Redwood City.
Marcella Padilla, present.
City of San Bruno. Absent. City of San Carlos.
Neil Layton, present.
City of San Mateo. Absent. City of South San Francisco.
Mark Nagals here.
Town of Woodside.
All Gold here.
Thank you, Chair. We have a quorum? We have a quorum.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rebecca, for getting us to quorum. Welcome. And thank you, Diane. The next item on the agenda is public comment on items not on the agenda. This is an opportunity for the public to address the roundtable on matters not listed on tonight's agenda. Please keep your comments to 2 minutes. And note, while roundtable members are not permitted to discuss or act on these items tonight, your input's always valued. So, Diane, I will turn it over to you for the instructions.
Thank you, Chair. For members of the public, the full instructions on how to participate in today's meeting may be found on the published agenda. On Zoom, please use the raise hand feature or *9 if you are calling by phone to indicate your desire to speak. All speakers will have 2 minutes, as mentioned. Thank you. And we have one public comment on items not on the agenda.
Okay, welcome. Is that Ms. Schneider?
Ms. Schneider.
Welcome, Ann.
Thank you and happy August. Ann Schneider, Millbrae. I am so happy to see someone from the mayor's office. Whereas I spent 9 years as the city of Millbrae's representative here, I am still the city's representative of Bosqua. And Mayor Lurie actually had the vice chair of SFPUC attend our Bosqua meeting here 2 weeks ago. So it's really great for you to have you. Please don't say anything I'm going to say personally. I'm a 4th generation San Franciscan, but I'm Millbrae. And San Francisco has a huge, huge impact on this tiny city of 3.27 square miles and 23,000 people. My item not on the agenda tonight is the Chronicle has been running a number of articles, but one recently about how quickly we're going to start seeing air taxis. I know I saw it in the work plan tonight, but what I am really, really dying to know about is where are these taxis going to be flying? I live 2 blocks from here. The single engine, double engines fly right over my house. The Coast Guard helicopter flies over my house about 3 times a day, and since I'm recovering from surgery, that's all I'm doing is lying there listening to things. And I am scared that these air taxis are going to fly over the cities of San Bruno and Millbrae to get to the airport. I'm sorry, I don't know where the timer is if I'm going long. So just to know where these air taxis are going to fly, and for all of you, that may be out of your jurisdiction or your perceived area of interest, but you add air taxis, you add Coast Guard, you add PG&E doing line checks, and then you do all of the other things that I'm going to bring up later, all of the flyovers that happen here. It becomes just one more straw in the camel's back. So I would love to see in your October meeting an agenda item that at least tries to guess where these air taxis are going to go. Councilman Nogales, I know South City will probably benefit because you're building a terminal. We
20
can't
seconds.
do that here. So there are differences in who benefits and who hurts.
Thank you, Ms. Schneider. Diane, any other public comment?
Thank you. We have one on Zoom, Mr. John Hamilton with class.
Oh, welcome, John. Please unmute.
Go ahead, Mr. Hamilton.
Well, thank you. My name is John Hamilton. I'm with the class group over at Bay Farm Island. And I just wanted to let the group know that we have asked the Oakland Airport to set up a meeting with Bert to bring the ANOM software in a Zoom format to allow for members of the public here on Bay Farm Island to better understand the departure procedures for both San Francisco and Oakland and how they relate to one another. There seems to be some confusion when we've had various noise forums, and we would like to try to clarify that. So that's all we're asking for, just a bit of a heads up. And I think Jesse will be contacting Bert to try to set something up in the short time. But thank you very much. And oh, by the way, I do share those concerns about the air taxis. I really am not sure where that's going. But thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Thank you. There are no other public comments at this time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hamilton and Ms. Schneider. Great. So why are we getting feedback? Is anybody else's mic on?
These mics are live, unfortunately.
Yeah, so, yeah, let's make sure we only, if I'm talking, then everyone else's mic is off. No, that we each turn ours off when we're not speaking. What's that? Oh, and computers, okay. Okay, I didn't really get that, but I'm sure it sounds better now. So we'll move to set the agenda and approve the consent calendar items. On today's consent calendar, we have approval of the SFO Community Roundtable minutes from June 4th meeting. And I actually have a couple of notes, suggested amendments on that. And then the SFO Airport Directors Report for May 2025 and June 2025, and the FAA IFP Information Gateway Summary Reports from June 2025 and July 2025. So do any members want to pull an item from the consent calendar for separate discussion?
If I have a question on it,
Yeah, Susie? Yeah, go ahead.
if I have a question, can I ask the question without pulling it?
Yeah, sure.
So in the June report, it had a huge increase in Foster City calls, and I just wanted to know the reason, if there was something that happened behind that.
Did everybody hear that?
I couldn't.
There's been an increase in calls to Foster City and wants to know if there's any information.
From Foster City.
Yeah.
Yes, somebody established a bot. And so we are experiencing that. We are trying to contact them back to say that, no, we don't accept those.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on, we want to welcome Supervisor Jackie Spear has joined us. Welcome. Thank you. And Supervisor Spear, we have Ben White with us now from the mayor's office, who's down at the end. I think you've met everyone else. Any other members who want to pull something from the consent calendar or have any comments, or any members of the public? Okay, so my suggested amendments before we approve the consent calendar are two things I would like to ask if Diane would add would add the names and cities of everyone who were present at the meeting, and moving forward, if we include that in our minutes, so rather than just regular attendance, that we list them. And also, I think if we double check against the roster, we have some misspellings of names of committee members. If you could just check those and amend them.
Thank you, Chair. Will do.
And where's the typo?
It's on page 6. The name Remy Tan, resident of Pacifica, and it says the resident of Palo Alto.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you got that? Yeah, your name, Nogales is misspelled. We saw that one. We've got a couple of misspelled. Any other amendments to the minutes from June 4th? All right, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar with the suggested amendments?
So moved.
Thank you, Suzie. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mark. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, moving on. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the chairman update. I'd like to provide a few important updates before we move into our regular agenda. First, the most important thing, there's a recent update from the FAA. We were notified that the Federal Aviation Administration has officially discontinued the Noise Ombudsman electronic mailboxes. So moving forward, members of the public should submit aircraft noise complaints and inquiries through the FAA Aviation Noise Complaint and Inquiry Portal. And I think all the members of the committee got that information from Vanessa. If you didn't, just let us know. We'll get it to you. And we will we'll look how to put a link to it on the website. And it's available, it's accessible through the FAA's website. This new ANCIR, which is known as Anchor portal, allows residents to submit concerns using a simple online form where they can specify the time, location, and type of noise event. Upon receiving this notice, we reached out to the FAA to understand the implications of this change for our communities. We were assured that this update is intended to streamline the complaint response process, improve data collection, and ensure more timely and consistent replies to public inquiries. We're hopeful that this shift will result in a more accessible and efficient experience for residents. And Diane, our Roundtable clerk, will circulate the official FAA notice following tonight's meeting. I'm sorry, I got it already. Did the rest of the Roundtable not get it yet? I apologize. Okay, so you will get it after this. Do we have any comments from our FAA rep? Are they on Zoom?
Yes, they are.
Okay, I will assume they don't wish to comment. Next, I want to acknowledge that we will be approving the Roundtable's 2025-2026 work plan later in this meeting. So I want to thank Vice Chair O'Connell, who is chairing the TWG, and the technical working group and community members for their thoughtful and robust input during the drafting process. The work plan reflects a number of updates based on that collaboration, including a full review of the Fly Quiet program, strengthened public outreach, and a commitment to monitoring future aviation technologies. Once the work plan is approved, we'll schedule our next TWG meeting. And again, everyone is welcome to attend, and we count on your participation to begin work on some of these initiatives, including the revamp of the Fly Quiet program, website updates, and we all know our website needs improvement, so that will be a priority, to improve community access and education, and the launch of a new study on innovative noise mitigation technologies and advanced air mobility, which I think is what Ms. Schneider was concerned with. We all are. Finally, a quick reminder on the administrative side, invoices for member dues were sent out in July and were due August 1st. These contributions from each jurisdiction, as well as from the airport, are critical to the Roundtable's operating budget. So if your city hasn't processed payment, please ensure it's submitted as soon as possible. And Vanessa, do you want to let the representatives know if their city has not? All right, so if you hear from Vanessa, then you'll know that your city might be behind on their payment. All right, so we've moved to set and approve the items on the consent calendar. We'll move on to our regular agenda. The next item on our agenda is the update from the SFO airport. This will cover the latest updates from SFO's airport director as well as the aircraft noise office, because Mike, although he's not here, has passed his notes along to Bert. These items are for information only, and I'll call for public comment at the conclusion of the items. So Bert, I'll turn things over to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. I do apologize. The director said, we're going to let you go out and do your regular presentation, but since we have no new airlines and we have no new information at the moment, we'll come back next month to them. So I give you that. So without further ado, my noise office update. I want to go to our first slide. And boy, that looks tiny up there. I apologize for that. Next time, seeing it from this perspective, I will make sure that I don't do that to anyone. So what we have here are information on our ANOM system, the Airport Noise and Operations Monitoring System. It's the software that we use to keep track of noise events, flight tracks, and our noise reports from the public. And this is a very important piece of software to us. I guess they call them apps these days, so whether it be what it was or what it is. The version we're using now is 9.10.8, and we've already done our quality assurance runs. It was probably one of our very best updates we've ever had, I'm pleased to announce, and it was very much error-free. The new features that we're going to be seeing in this are the ability to run a NEAM, which is the Airport Noise Event Extraction Methodology, and that's that better correlation that you folks are liking. And so we'll be able to run it in ANOMS rather than have to run it as a shadow table outside of ANOMS. So that will be a big, huge help to us in the noise office. Because up till now, we've had to run it outside and can't work with it like we do the normal noise correlations. And also, too, we're going to be getting more ANNs, artificial neural network is what they call them. So it's the ability of the system to automatically correlate pump stations, garbage trucks, wind events, things like that. And so we're looking for more and more of those to A, take the load off the staff, and B, improve accuracy. Next slide, we're going to be talking about the Repair and Replacement Initiative. This slide did not change from last time. All the numbers are identical to what we reported in June. The next slide, the Second Chance Initiative. The second line of the table, gosh, I really want to bring back the projector. It will help you folks out a lot.
It's educational sitting here.
It is. I expected sitting up there, I can't see. And so I figure that everybody can see everything. Yes, it does. I know that. I just was trying to direct them to it. But the second line down in that table, it dropped by 2. And so we had 2 duplicates in the database and they were removed. So this is the reason why it went down by 2. So if when you look at it in your packet, you see that, you'll know why.
Can I ask a quick question?
I have one more and I'll open it up if you don't mind.
Absolutely relevant to this particular slide.
All right, please.
So why is total potentially eligible
Use the mic,
properties?
Rebecca.
So why is the total potentially eligible properties only 284? And the applications received is 714?
Because that number is, they're potentially eligible, haven't been brought into the pool. So they're potentials.
Future.
Yep. Yes, it was. Good question. Thank you. You always have good questions for me. And the expanded eligibility initiative, wanted to say that we had 2 decline to participate, and that would be the 4th line down, went from 27 to 29, I believe it was. So anyway, that's that one. Other than that, everything is the same on that one. And we will try to do something about making things at least a little larger for next time.
Vanessa and I actually talked about this today, that we were going to ask both Jean and you to take a look at this, so that we do request that each PowerPoint slide have not very much on it in large type, because the screen is rather small and so far away. So thank you. Thank you for noticing that on your own.
Sometimes I'm observant.
Let's take public comment on this report before discussion. Diane, do we have any public comments?
Yes, we have one on Zoom. Miss Darlene Yapley.
Welcome, Darlene. Please unmute.
Thank you. Hi, Bert. There was a slide deck that was posted right next to item 8, and it says Review Roundtable Portable Monitoring Program. Is that what you're doing right now? Because I was going to comment on that.
No, it was not. I believe that was, what, last time?
Okay, so I don't have a, well, I guess I'll make the comment. Have you made a decision yet?
I have made my pitch to the roundtable. Need to get feedback from them. It's been over a year outstanding.
Okay, I would like to encourage the roundtable to support Palo Alto getting a portable monitor and continuing to do that, because it helps not just Palo Alto, but it helps all of you. It allows me and others to understand the number of events, changes, procedures flown, use of a NEM and sound levels. And that understanding doesn't just help my community, it strengthens all of our advocacy efforts. It's helped me contribute more effectively to the roundtable and to national forums, such as recommending appropriate metrics to inform policy. Another example is ambient noise. Without the airport methodology comparing ambient noise, the same methodology across cities, it's very hard to make a recommendation, which has been made to NASA for the advanced air mobility determinant of evaluating noise impacts. So as you can see, Palo Alto monitoring data is actively used, analyzed, and informs decisions. This ensures that monitoring isn't just collecting numbers, it's generating insight. And while many cities have monitors, this level of engagement and interpretation is uncommon and demonstrates the full potential of the monitoring program that we appreciate that SFO does. So I hope that even though we're not a roundtable member, you will continue continuing the monitoring, temporary portable monitoring in Palo Alto, so that we can assist all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
We have one more from Carol.
Welcome, Carol. Please unmute.
Hi, it's Carol Ford, and I'm homesick with COVID, and I joined on Zoom, and I just wanted to be sure I was counted as present.
Oh, thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we also have just one more hand raised from Mr. Remy Tan. Mr. Tan?
Hello, Remy Tan here, Pacifica. I just heard a comment from Darlene regarding the monitoring. We request that the roundtable also include monitoring for other cities that are impacted, like Pacifica, Daly City, South City, Brisbane, Millbrae, especially that we get, a lot of noise, especially the late night takeoffs and landings. So I think it's important to, treat the whole entire area around the airport, equally, and have that data. So that's really important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no other speakers online or in the room. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Diane. So we'll open the floor to, are there any members of the roundtable who have some questions for Bert or comments? Okay, we'll go with Christine first.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Just looking at these three tables and not seeing a lot of movement in the numbers, can you just give us a rough idea of how long it takes from, initial application deeming, capable of participating in the program to when the construction is done?
That varies. And one of the things that right now is going on is we don't have additional grant funding to go forward. The big problem right now with the homes that we have in the system is they are checking to be sure eligibility is there. Once that's done, they then put them on the list, and then based on the funding for the program, we'll start the mitigation.
Okay, but there's no
Did
funding.
you wish to add more, Gerardo? Gerardo Fries, he's a gentleman that's actually in charge of the noise insulation program. I know the generalities, but he's the expert. We'll let him tell us.
Yeah, and the fact that you don't see any change between 1 month or 2 months ago and now doesn't mean that there's no activity. Some of those numbers reflect, for example, number of units currently under construction. What happened is, for example, that we already finished a group in a particular phase. We finished construction, and right now we're gearing up to start construction on another group. So you'll see activity eventually, but right now, what the table shows is that we didn't complete any units during in the 2 months period. So I don't know if that clarifies it, but there's definitely the activity.
Thank you. Jean? Did you have your hand raised? No. Anyone else have any questions or comments for Bert? Yes, Jackie.
Am I on? Bert, you said that there's only so much money in the funds. There's a total budget from 2016 to 2022 of $20 million. Are you still spending that money, or is there new money?
Since Gerardo handles the money, I will let him tell you.
Can you hear me? Okay. The numbers that we show reflect the budget for the current phases. So since we haven't started any new phase, there is no increase in the budget. That doesn't mean that we do not anticipate additional budgets in the future. Like, for example, right now we're anticipating starting new phases that we're designating as the 2025 phases. We did apply for grants from the FAA, but we didn't get the grants. However, the airport is exploring the possibility of proceeding with those phases using different funding. So right now we're just exploring. We don't have anything, any funding formally in place. But the expectation is that we will continue moving forward in the future. In addition, for 2026, we are already gearing up to prepare new grant applications, and with the hope that we will get additional funds in 2026 federal year. So it's a moving target. But again, no change between 2 months ago and now because we didn't get any new grants or we didn't start any new phases. Is that clear?
As mud, no.
I'm sorry?
No, I was just joking. I'm just trying to understand these charts. So it says a total budget under RRI of $7 million. Has $7 million already been expended, or is that $7 million that is an opportunity for these homes to be?
Okay, that's cumulative funding from the time that we started the RRI up until now.
So I guess it would be helpful in the future to show how much money is still available for these purposes, so we can evaluate where the need is and how we're meeting it.
Okay, the easy answer is in the case, for example, of the RRI, currently we don't have enough funding to take care of every single eligible property at once. We have a budget of $1.5 million per year, and we have hundreds of applicants, as you know. So we're proceeding as quickly as we can with the funds that we have. So in response to your question about how much is currently available, it's $1.5 million per year, but it's already been committed to the properties that are already in the waiting list. So any new applicant would have to go to the bottom of the wait list. And in terms of budget, for example, for the Second Chance Initiative or the Expanded Eligibility Initiative, again, depending on new funding approvals for 2025 and 2026, and we will know that, for example, in 2026, when and if we get a grant from the FAA. We will have X number of $1 million, and then we will be able to say, oh, we can treat so many homes with that budget. And then the homes that we will treat, for the most part, are already identified. We already have lists, databases with the potentially eligible properties. We're just waiting for the grants. When we get them, we contact homeowners and we invite them.
So for the SCI, how much money do you get per year for that?
For the SCI, in the current grant, I believe we have $3 million, something like that. But that's for the current grant that will, and it's pretty much exhausted. We already were in the final steps to close that grant. We'll be closing it in a few months. So there's no room for any additional properties. And in the EEI, currently, the current phase, we have a budget of $12 million. And again, all the properties have been identified, and we're working on those right now. And we will finish that sometime in early 2026.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And going forward, we'll make sure to have the drawdown a little more clear.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. We will move on to the approval of the 2025-26 work plan. This plan outlines our strategic priorities for the year and includes areas of oversight related to noise mitigation, flight operations, ground noise, public engagement, and more. I'd like to note that the TWG did review the plan at its June meeting and received great input from one of our community partners, as well as the SFO Noise Office and our technical consultant from HMMH. So I'll pass things over to Vanessa, our Roundtable coordinator, to present an overview of the plan before we seek approval.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. As part of tonight's agenda, I am seeking approval of the Roundtable's fiscal year 25-26 work plan. The document outlines key strategies that will guide the Roundtable's effort over the next year. So as our chair already noted, the plan was reviewed and vetted and edited by the TWG at the June 25th subcommittee meeting. And during that meeting, we had a really robust and collaborative discussion with members of the community, as well as our noise office partner and our technical consultant, Jean, from HMMH. So the work plan that you received in the packet is shown in track changes to illustrate the changes that were made at the recommendation of the TWG. There's also just some kind of minor cleanup items that were in track changes in that document also. So tonight I'll walk us through the 6 strategic goals in the work plan, and I will highlight areas of the plan that were updated to reflect the recommendations that were made by the TWG. So the first goal in the work plan is to strengthen engagement with federal, state, regional, and local delegation on airport noise reduction initiatives. So this goal really calls for the Roundtable to take a more proactive role in legislative and regulatory advocacy on all levels. This includes identifying and sponsoring any noise noise-related reduction, noise reduction legislation that prioritizes policies that are aligned with community concerns and the Roundtable's own initiatives. So the Roundtable will also closely monitor any committee appointments that are aviation-related to federal, FAA, and local bodies or legislation that's being developed to ensure that those decisions reflect the needs of our communities that are most impacted by noise at the airport. Goal 2 in the work plan aims to develop an enhanced coordination plan for the TWG focused on noise mitigation, ground-based noise, and flight operation. The aim for this goal is for the Roundtable to strengthen its technical oversight of both air and ground-based noise by monitoring nighttime procedures, discouraging low-altitude shortcutting over our residential areas, and advocating for use and, hopefully exclusive use of quieter arrival runways at nighttime. Ground-based noise initiatives will be consolidated under the TWG, and that will also evaluate current arrival flight paths into SFO, especially those that fly over the peninsula and our coastal communities. So for this item, a recommendation from the TWG that I want to note is in addition to monitoring and reviewing, it is in addition to monitor and review the development of future aircraft technology like air taxis and drones, which we heard earlier tonight, and to ensure early community input on any emerging technologies. Moving on to goal 3, this goal is to collaborate with SFO's Noise Abatement Office to address operational noise. So the Roundtable will continue to work very closely with the Noise Abatement Office to provide recommendations on community noise impacts and to ensure concerns are addressed in airport planning documents, including the airport development and noise action plans. Special attention will be given to health and environmental justice impacts of noise as the Roundtable reviews SFO strategic and technical proposals. And additionally, the Roundtable is going to consider conducting detailed studies to analyze nighttime noise patterns to determine the cause and recommend appropriate solutions. A recommendation on this item from the TWG to note is to add continued review of GBAS procedures. The next goal is goal 4. This goal reflects a lot of collaboration between the TWG, our Roundtable partners, and the public to improve the Fly Quiet program. So goal 4 states that the Roundtable will provide a comprehensive review of SFO's Fly Quiet program with recommendations and implementation support to ensure efficacy and strengthen compliance tracking and accountability in the program. So the initial goal was really to just monitor and incentivize the program, but now we're looking to undertake a really comprehensive review of the program's guidelines, the scoring criteria, and the reporting process to ensure that it reflects today's airline practices and the noise concerns that affect us today. This effort will also include a review of Fly Quiet programs at comparable airports to identify best practices and evaluate proven strategies to reduce noise. And the goal is really to modernize the program and to deliver clearer accountability, stronger compliance, and a measurable program where we can measure year-over-year improvement in aircraft noise reduction. So going on to goal 5, this goal is to enhance public education on noise mitigation efforts and to continue to address community concerns. So the Roundtable, this goal aims for the Roundtable to continue to strengthen its public education by, as we noted, improving the website, continuing to distribute accessible resources, and holding our public meetings to share updates and gather input from community members. This also includes targeted outreach to areas that are most impacted by airport noise to ensure that their concerns are included in these discussions. And by expanding these communication channels and tools, the Roundtable really wants to make its work more transparent, inclusive, so that we can be more responsive. So the last and final goal is goal number 6, and this is to improve the Roundtable's effectiveness through member education and support. So we have a lot of new members who have joined the roundtable over the last year. So this is just a renewed commitment and emphasis on internal education for our current members so that everyone here understands the health and noise impacts of communities living near a major international airport. This goal focuses on providing tools such as our annual Noise 101 training and potentially updating that, a user-friendly glossary of aviation terms, visual maps, flight procedures, et cetera. These resources will help the members you all here sitting today better advocate for your communities and also contribute to the meaningful dialogue at our meetings. So that is a really high-level overview of the work plan. The work plan is really designed to keep the roundtable focused and flexible and adaptive. And so there's a lot of momentum that the roundtable has built over the last several years, and this work plan really tries to build on that and kind of sharpen our tools so that we can be ready for action. So I am going to pass it back to you, Chair Polich. That is the end of my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions on the work plan.
Thank you, Vanessa. Yeah, really nice summary. I mean, really what we are trying to do is focus on the things that we can realistically have an impact on. Okay, before we open it up for member questions and comments, and welcome Pam, thank you. Nice to see you. Let's take public comment on this item, and then we'll come back to the members of the roundtable. Diane, do we have any public comment?
Yes, we have one member on Zoom, Miss Darlene Yapley. Miss Yapley?
All right, welcome, Darlene.
Hi, I want to begin by expressing my appreciation for the overall work plan and the thoughtful effort that went into its development. The content is well organized, clearly presented, and reflects meaningful opportunities. It's a strong foundation for the year ahead. I have two very minor edits. The first is Goal 2, Item 5, page 36. I appreciate the inclusion of advanced air mobility in the scope, given how rapidly AAM is evolving and its potential impacts across communities due to lower altitudes, new routing over new residential areas, and vertiports in and away from the airport. I'd like you to consider stronger language. Right now it says monitor, and I think it should be review and assess or analyze and provide input on. That would reinforce the roundtable's active role as these technologies develop and their impacts emerge. My second comment is about goal number 4, item 3, page 37. I wanted to offer an important clarification regarding the terminology. The current language refers to the fly quiet criteria, and presented on the SFO website is 6 elements such as flight noise quality rating, shoreline departure quality rating. Under the elements are the criteria to evaluate each. To ensure clarity and alignment with how the program's structured, it may be helpful to refer to both elements and their criteria in the work plan, not just criteria. Therefore, the roundtable can look at both the elements and the criteria and decide if one or both need to be reconsidered. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have one
Thank
in
you.
the room as well, Ms. Schneider.
Okay, welcome, Ann.
Thank you. I'm going to be really honest. With the current administration, we know we're not going to get much from the FAA, and we're also not going to get much from the US EPA. I'm looking at, there are 2 of you from my time on the roundtable. All of you are new. Right now, this roundtable, and it is unique amongst most of the roundtables around the world, only does noise. And Jean can correct me on that, but most of them, at least most of the ones that I communicate with, also do air pollution. Now, the FAA does noise, US EPA does noise, or the other pollution. We had been trying for years to get this committee, all of you and your predecessors, to think about adding air pollution. For example, Millbrae and San Bruno, all of our cities, entire, are at high risk for parts per million 2.5, both diesel and regular 2.5 on that. But when you're only talking about noise, you've only got one arrow in your sling. If you add air pollution, you get other agencies who may be more cooperative, maybe not for the next 3.5 years, but maybe on that. and you have more tools to do that. I work in the environmental field. You never want to approach anything with just a single aspect. I strongly encourage you to add a work plan that says, look at the charter language from 1980, 81, where when I read it the last time, it left room for doing air pollution, and then it was knocked out years later after the first home insulation program started in the late 80s, early 90s. Add back air pollution on that. That will really get you to use these next 3 years to get everything in line and to use the data that is already out there on the various types of pollution. Now, for all of you that don't live near the airport, you're getting part per million, 2.5, coming out of those airplanes, especially as they depart over you, and a little bit as they're flowing over you. So there's other problems in here with ground-based noise. I'll have to bring it up. Question on timing. You've got a map. Is that map a separate agenda item?
The flow map? Yes, that's, yeah, yes, that's the next, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have one last public comment from Mr. Remy Tan. Mr. Tan?
Welcome.
Hello, I'm Remy Tan here again, Pacifica. Just wanted to comment and hope that the document does include the airport expansion. I understand from the last few meetings there are a lot of presentations on the proposed addition of new gates at the airport, and that will, of course, increase the amount of air traffic, and that should be all accounted for in the new, in the work plan. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. There are no other hands raised on Zoom or in the room.
All right, thank you. We will close public comment and come back to the roundtable members. Do we have some questions or comments on the proposed work plan? Yes, Mark.
Thank you. First of all, I appreciate former Mayor Schneider's comment on the air taxis, because it wasn't that long ago where we saw the proposal in South San Francisco, where the development at Oyster Point, where they're proposing to put an air taxi, and that alarmed me to see that happening. And I actually had to go back to staff to really understand, like, when is this happening? And what it was is actually just a proposal to do it. But what it showed me is that there are companies looking to do this. And so I'm looking to this board, the kind of direction, because I think we need to have a serious conversation about that. I think there is going to be some serious concerns about, as the Mayor Schneider mentioned, kind of the height and the noise, and really kind of the regulation about this, which I don't know we really have control over, which is really the FAA. But at some point, this might affect all of us in terms of development, in terms of what these companies are trying to think about. So I appreciate the roundtable kind of putting that there as a pin for now. And I think we'll have a deeper conversation about this issue as we move forward.
Thank you. Good point. We'll go down to Stefan.
Thanks, Chair Kralik. To my fellow colleague, Mark's point, I actually sat through a presentation with Vice Chair O'Connell over at SFO, where we talked with some advanced air mobility companies. And I can tell you that based on the conversations that we had, that this technology is coming quicker than we can imagine. Due to the FAA, they're saying that they're at least 5 years out from being able to get any kind of clearance to land at SFO. So SFO and other airports are not going to move forward on that anytime soon, probably 5 years out. However, internationally, I believe one of the companies is going to be flying this year in Dubai, and then another flight will be occurring in India somewhere. So being that they're probably not going to be flying into SFO, that leaves them with the opportunity to try to find public-private relationships where they could be putting these landing areas within our neighboring communities. So I think it's very important to the public comment that was made from Ms. Yap, was it? Can't remember the name. But I think it's very important that we start being proactive with this and get in front of it rather than try to catch up to it. So that would be my only comment.
Thank you. Christine.
Yeah, I have a few comments and questions, but just to piggyback on that, and I hadn't realized there's really only 2 of us left from the year before, but we had several presentations last year, and 2 of the things I remember hearing is that the companies are already negotiating with some of the big box stores like Walmart and so forth, so as takeoff and landing places. So it, and we also talked about how none of our cities really have policies that prevent them from coming to our towns. And so to get ahead of that, to start thinking proactively about language that we can then take back to each of our cities to make sure we are ready and are able to control not just takeoff and landing, but potentially flight paths over our communities. So I would like to see some of that language strengthened too. Last year I had volunteered to be on the strategic plan committee, and that never really took off. So I'm curious, this is a 1-year plan, but my recollection is that the 5-year strategic plan had also terminated, and I'm curious if we're aware of that, if there's any work being looked at as a more long-term plan.
Yeah, so the 5-year strategic plan sunsets in this year, actually. There is a working group for that, so we will need to, well, it sunsets this fiscal year, so fiscal year 25-26, so June 30th next year. So this annual plan is kind of a subset of the strategic plan, which does outline 5-year long-term strategies. So the roundtable will be evaluating that in the coming year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then I think I've said this a couple of times, and I obviously we haven't heard from the FAA tonight. Are we hearing from them at all about our work plan and other things that they're working on? We spent a lot of time commenting both as a group and certain cities about the noise and health study that they were doing, and I'm just curious if any of that is progressing, if we're following up or hoping to get some information. And then also the FAA had promised to look at expansion of the night hush hours, and so I don't see that in here also, and I'm hoping that it's not just falling off the cliff of what's happening federally.
Is Carlette?
Oh, great.
Welcome, Carlette Young, who is our FAA rep, who has been very responsive, and welcome. I think you're muted, Carlette.
There we go. Thank you. I couldn't speak earlier, but yes, I'm here. We continue to participate in the roundtables, and we are taking into consideration any requests for information, any recommendations to the FAA. If the chair would like to submit those things in writing, we can get an answer to you on that, but yeah, but we continue to stay engaged. Thank you.
Okay, we shall do that. Yeah, so it looks like we would like an update on the noise and health studies and the night hush, anything that the FAA is doing with night hush, but we're happy to submit that request in writing.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to say I agree with Darlene Gapley's additions, and I'm just curious about the air pollution. That wasn't something that I've heard discussed in the last few years, so whether that's something that's in our purview at all.
It seems to me that we'd have to make a charter change, is that right, to include the air pollution? So so I think that's something we'll have to look into and circle back about.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Patrick.
I've got a question because in the June meeting, I remember we were talking about this, or we were informed about it, about hopefully that we're going to see an increase because of the load and people are coming and traveling, and that's good for our economy, of course, and I'm happy to see that. 4% increase over last year with flight operations, 95% of pre-pandemic of the month of May. And then they talked about also, because I think you guys talked about to Azores and Portugal and all these new flights. And then that was one of my questions back then was, with all this extra load that we're bringing in and the noise levels are going to increase, have we seen an increase from that meeting till now? I mean, are we seeing a shift in noises?
That would be a Bert question. I can attest to the, because I flew this morning and I flew last week up to Portland and back this morning. I have not seen since before the pandemic SFO and the Portland airport as crowded as it was this week.
It's definitely been a busy season. Shift of noise is a dirty word. We don't like to use that because we've all committed to be against shifting of noise from one community to another. But as far as your question on the increase in passenger loads and traffic, yes, the noise levels do increase. Fortunately, most of the traffic has been in the daytime, which keeps the noise levels down. The CNEL noise levels, or community noise equivalent levels, are really driven by nighttime noise. So you can actually have one really super loud aircraft go out at night, fully loaded, and ring all the bells, and that will set that noise contour for the day. So we're trying to keep the aircraft during the daytime. In fact, we had a question on that at our last meeting. Mr. Svindervaas wanted to know if we could do more of air carrier incentive programs. The airport does have one right now for both domestic and international, and you'll be pleased to know that the airport director has carried forward the obligation between 11:30 and 6 a.m. not to have the incentives for carriers coming in during those hours with new routes.
And then
So, yeah, Paul.
The other question I had was on the, I think it was the departures or I think it's departures on the map, on that one diagram that you had for Foster City. Is there any way you can shift that? Because it seems like Petrola Valley and Foster City keep bringing up, even though some of these reports are wrong, you're saying that the computer's calling in. But that's been ongoing for those two cities. If you were to just shift more into the bay on your arrival, just shift it over a little bit. Is that possible?
We do have an offset arrivals program. We ask the aircraft use that as much as possible. And we also ask that the FAA utilize that as much as possible. The problem is not everybody can do it, especially during foul weather, low visibility, or when we're busy. The nighttime is when we expect to be able to do it the most, and that's when we are able to do that. We have a new webpage that we're about ready to roll out with, and we'll be able to show that to people, how that's progressing.
And could we make that really stand out in the Roundtable recognition program? Those are the things that we would like to see happen.
We already have that in the Fly Quiet program for the Foster City arrival metric, and it's based heavily on having aircraft offshore for higher points.
Because I know pilot has command to make his own decision where he wants to be, but if we can try to.
To a point.
To a point, but if we could kind of guide them a little bit. And
Well,
the big picture
also too, within 9 miles, we want an aircraft to be what they call established on final,
Right.
and have a sterile cockpit, meaning they're not making uncoordinated moves, which will cause the aircraft to break off and go around.
Thank you.
I think that is one thing that that's been brought up before, to encourage as part of Fly Quiet, and we can incorporate this into our work program, trying to get as many planes as possible to use 28 right instead of 28 left, especially at night, because that will bring them farther away from Foster City.
Mm-hmm.
So, Paul.
Yeah, Bert, I wanted to make sure I understood your last comment there. So at our last meeting in June, you had talked about that success that we had, that flight that took off. Was that the incentive that we would get them out quicker or something? Or I thought it was a few minutes late, but you kind of carved that out anyway. It was a United Airlines flight.
Oh, the United Airlines 512?
Yes.
Yeah, so they had been doing the stick departure
exactly.
after real close to 1 a.m. I mean, it's scheduled to roll out at, I think, 12:45, which means they're likely going to be after 1 a.m.
But they took off over the bay, and it was a
So,
win-win for everybody, right?
we told them, look, if you really don't want to do the night, which goes out over the bay, around the peninsula and back over, about 25 air miles additional, you can always roll out on runway 1, take a right turn to heading 050 and be gone.
Right.
And so they like that idea, and they've been using it. We had one day where we had, I think, 2 last month, back to back. And I was like, oh man, they fell off the wagon.
It was a nice success story, I think,
Yeah.
I'll withhold editorial comment on that. But I think that at the end of your presentation just now, you said something about the incentive program. Was it going away now?
No.
It's going to continue.
Every year we renew the aircraft, air carrier incentive program, both domestic and international. And a large part of it is that the airport directors, starting with Ivar and continuing with Mike, have been renewing the portion that excludes the nighttime. So between 11:30 p.m. and 6 a.m. the next day, if you bring in a new route to us, we won't reward you for it.
I see. Okay, so that is the part that you were
Right.
referring to.
So if you bring us a new route during the daytime or outside those hours I just mentioned, you'll get your landing fees waived for a year.
Got it. Thank you.
It's a significant program.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you. And that is goal 4, is to work with Fly Quiet and try and enhance that and make that even more effective than it is. So any more comments? Yes. Rebecca.
Can you clarify a little bit more about what other incentives you're offering the airlines? Because, I mean, yes, from a business standpoint, it's important for SFO to get new routes, but I'm a little nervous about rewarding United, for a new route wherever in the middle of the day, getting landing fees waived for a year while they make tons of noise on top of Portola Valley. So, what other incentives do you have in your toolbox?
Basically on that one, it's pretty much fairly restrictive to that, which is if you bring us a route that has not been serviced at SFO in over a year, and not by you, but anybody, we will then waive your fees. And they're actually kind of restricting that more towards a new one. Not just, it hasn't been serviced in a year, but a new one.
And what about the idea of, what I find as a customer of an airline, the biggest hassle is when there's delays. Whether it's weather out somewhere else that just impacts San Francisco, and then the flights line up waiting to take off. Can you not reward those that are quiet and that don't have all sorts of bad marks to say, oh, you're going to get a shorter delay before your plane gets to take off?
Unfortunately, no, we cannot do that. Under the Airport Noise and Capacity Act of 1990, enacted by Congress, we cannot do that.
And is there a possibility for the Roundtable group as part of your work to kind of suggest things that, may or may not be allowed, but just throw out and brainstorm for other
Definitely.
incentives?
That's what the working group's all about. We get together and talk. Now, as far as me going to the airlines and talking with them, I can do that all day long. I can ask them, would you please? But I can't go further.
Thanks.
Now, I'm glad to see this interest in strengthening Fly Quiet, because that's one of our goals. It seems like from the sense of the meeting, definitely the goal that focuses on the new air technology is a serious one and sort of urgent, and it sounds like, and that was a good point, if the working group can come up with, as part of our plan, some language or guidelines that we can bring back to our cities, that would be very helpful. So it seems like there's some support for the edits that Darlene suggested, which is goal 2, item 5, that we change the monitor of the technology to review and access. I'm seeing some nodding heads. And then also goal 4, which is the fly quiet goal, to tie that to the 6 elements and the criteria that are already set up through the roundtable, the noise abatement office. I think that the air pollution, we do have to look into the charter. That's probably a charter change, so that wouldn't be on tonight's agenda, but certainly worth looking into, absolutely. And then the airport expansion question, I think that is that's baked into our work as we're looking into things. We will consider that. Any other changes or edits or that you would like to add before I look for a motion? Yes, Stefan.
Just a point of clarification, Chair Kralik. Underneath strategic plan goal 2, item 5, the Roundtable Technical Working Group will monitor the development and implementation of advanced air mobility. Are we going to be providing guidance and language back to the city so perhaps they can put in ordinances or structure some kind of way to safeguard their communities?
So yeah, that was the request, and so we could put that into goal 2 to provide cities, how should we word that? To provide cities with recommended guidelines around new air technology.
I agree, Madam Chair, because I think there needs to be some sort of uniform policy, because what ends up happening is that you get a hodgepodge of different kind of ordinances around the county, and so if we get some sort of uniformity, that might help.
All right, how about that the TWG, as part of our work plan, that we provide cities with policy recommendations around new air technology?
Yeah, I think that needs to be included in that item, because before you know it, there's going to be public-private relationships popping up, because these technologies can't land at the airport right now because they don't have FAA clearance to do so.
I think it's a great point, because yes, they're going to be looking to land in all of our cities. Okay, so we've got those 3 amendments then. Anything else? Do we have a motion to approve the work plan then as amended?
Motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Stefan and Mark seconded. Do we need a roll call? Or could we get a roll call vote on this, please, Diane?
Thank you. City and County of San Francisco Board of Supervisors, absent. City and County of San Francisco Mayor's Office.
Aye.
City and County of San Francisco Airport Commission.
Aye.
San Mateo Board of Supervisors. Aye. CCAG Airport Land Use Commission.
Aye.
Town of Atherton, absent. City of Belmont.
Aye.
City of Brisbane, absent. City of Burlingame, absent. Town of Colma. Aye. City of Daly City.
Aye.
City of East Palo Alto, absent. City of Foster City. Aye. City of Half Moon Bay.
Aye.
Town of Hillsborough.
Aye.
City of Menlo Park. Absent. City of Millbrae.
Aye.
City of Pacifica.
Aye.
Town of Portola Valley.
Aye.
City of Redwood City.
Yes.
City of San Bruno. Absent. City of San Carlos.
Aye.
City of San Mateo. Absent. City of South San Francisco.
Yes.
Town of Woodside.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Motion carries. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So the next step will be for Diane to send out a doodle poll for those who have already stepped up and said they want to be part of the TWG, the Technical Working Group. If you would like to be added to that, then please let Diane or Vanessa or me know. We'd love to have you. Obviously, we have a lot of work to do, but I think we can be really effective. And yeah, we'd love to have you. And then we will schedule the meeting and we'll get to work. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the SFO flow presentation, which will be provided by HMMH. The presentation shows both arrival and departure routes for SFO and Oakland based on the flow of traffic or plan in place. This is particularly important information for the roundtable to be knowledgeable on as we work through our work plan action items. So this item is information only, and I think I'm going to pass it on to Jason Stoddard. Is that right, Jean? So welcome, Jason. Take it away.
Great, thank you very much. So we like to give this presentation, our presentation on the the flow plans at SFO periodically, just to get everybody on the same page on what to expect when they're whether they be in the west plan, the southeast plan, or the nighttime plan. So this is just the first page shows some departures. You have the red is showing departures on the west plan. The green is departures on the southeast plan, and the blue is the nighttime plan. So the west plan is the one that predominantly is used at SFO. You can see there 95 to 98% of the time. It just happens to line up with the winds, the prevailing winds at SFO. Southeast plan, also known as reverse flow, used a lot less frequently, 2 to 5% of the time. And then the nighttime plan is to the maximum extent possible during the nighttime hours, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Next slide. This we show a few more of the departure routes and the arrival routes for both San Francisco and Oakland on the west plan. As I said before, this is used predominantly 95 to 98% of the time. You can see here the primary departure runways are 1 and 28, arrival runways to 28 as well. So you can see the arrivals coming into 28. That's the red down there. Coming into San Francisco, and you can see that the one track that's a little offset. That was the offset approach to 28 that Bert was talking about just a few minutes ago. And then we show just how they how they work in conjunction with the departures and arrivals into Oakland. And the Oakland departures are in the light blue, and their arrivals are also in red.
Hey, Jason, this is Bert. I wanted to ask if you wouldn't mind, when you talk about the runways, tell us which direction they face. People are not too familiar with 28 when you talk about it, and say something like the west-facing runway, 28.
Okay.
Thanks.
Got it. Will do. And that Bert raises a good point. So, another helpful way is if you think of a, 360 degrees in a circle, the runways are built based on the magnetic heading. So 28 would actually be a 280 magnetic heading. And 28 goes to the northwest, and then runway 1 goes to the north mostly.
So 28 goes from southeast to northwest.
Yeah, so correct. So if they're arriving on runway 28, they'll be coming down there from the bottom right-hand side of the screen, which would be the southeast, and flowing up to the northwest to land on runway 28. And then the departures off of 28, you can see them heading out over there. I can't see is that Westboro? Yeah. But yeah, they're heading off to the northwest. And then the runway 1, they'll be taking off and going out into the bay up to the north.
And 1 runs from southwest to northeast.
Correct. If they were landing on runway 1, then they'd be coming in from the southwest, landing on that runway. And when they depart, they'd be departing, to the northeast a little bit. Next slide. So this is the southeast plan. As I said, used a lot less frequency. I keep saying that, excuse me. Used a lot less frequently, 2 to 5% of the time, and that's all, primarily wind dependent. The aircraft like to depart and arrive heading into the wind. It makes for a safer flight. We can see here that in the southeast plan, departures are predominantly leaving on runway 19, which would be down to the southwest, and then off of runway 10, which you can see there goes to the southeast. So runway 10 would be coming out right over the bay, and then 19 will be going out over Millbrae and then over towards Foster City. You can see the turn there.
So just to clarify, runway 10 is runway 1 coming the different direction,
That's correct.
right? So
28.
28.
I'm sorry, yes, yeah.
Runway 10 is runway 28 coming the different direction.
The reciprocal, it's the reciprocal, meaning that if you're thinking of a 360-degree circle, you divide it by 180. So 280 minus 180 leaves 010. So you get 10. And so that's where that comes from. So 19s, they're the reciprocal of the runway 1. So SFO is basically, obviously, the circle Jason talked about, canted 10 degrees.
I've heard this description a million times. It still does not resonate with me. So
We'll get a
28
visual
goes
for you.
from the southeast to northwest. If you're coming from the other direction, what number is that? 10?
10.
10. Okay, so that's 10. 1 goes from southwest to northeast, and if you're coming in the other way on 1, it is
19.
19. Okay.
So try to remember 10, 28, 119.
Mhm.
Those are that's the same
Okay.
runway, just the opposite
Okay.
direction. So 10,
That's-
28, 119.
Okay, that's great. That's easier. Thank you,
Yes.
Chief. Someday I'll learn the radius of the circles.
You'll get it.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So this is also known as reverse flow. So if you ever hear that mentioned, they're talking about the southeast plan. There's reduced capacity, and as with all of the plans, they require coordinated traffic management between all of the local airports. Because these flight paths, as you can see, cross, and you have arrivals and departures going out of all these airports simultaneously. So it's a Gordian knot there with all the flight paths, and so it's synchronized pretty well. Next slide. And so then this is the nighttime plan, which is used to the maximum extent possible. You can see the departures off of runway 1, which would be to the northeast, and then the departures off of runway 28, which would be, as you said, from the southeast up to the northwest. But they turn, the departures off runway 28, they make a right turn to go out over to the bay and then try and stay over the water as they depart the area. You can see the arrivals are also to runway 28, and those are coming in from the southeast. You can see that offset arrival there as well, which they try and get used as frequently as possible to keep the aircraft away from the Foster City area. But those are the arrivals down there in red to SFO, landing on runway 28, and then you can see the same for Oakland and their nighttime plan. And that's it. So are there any questions? And also there's additional information we can, if anybody has any questions that I can't answer, we will get that information for you and send it your way. And also the SFO noise office has a great presentation on the flows as well. So Bert's been a lot of help.
Thank you, Jason, for that. We'll take public comment and then open up to the members for questions and comments. Do we have any members of the public who wish to comment?
Yes, we have one on Zoom, Mr. John Hamilton. Mr. Hamilton, please go ahead.
Yes, I have 2 comments. The first one's on the nighttime plan. There's an additional departure route that a lot of the cargo planes take, which is when they depart on the south runway, runway 30, instead of making the left-hand turn to 270 degrees, they make a complete U-turn on the Sunny procedure towards Sunnyvale. Okay, so that's missing. And then my other comment has to do with the West plan. In the West plan, you show that there's 2 departures. One is straight out, And that's true, that the vast majority of planes do that. The planes that are shown going 270 degrees, I wish that was the case, but they don't. They just make about a 6-degree turn, not a 26-degree turn. So that exaggerated turn to the left, I wish all of the planes departing Oakland could do that. And that's actually what our big wish list is moving forward. But as shown, that's not what's happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Yes, we have one in the room, Ms. Schneider.
Welcome in.
Ann Schneider, Millbrae. Maps tell stories. I'm a geographer. Maps give definite impressions when you look at them. Each one of these maps, you can look at it and say, ah, that airplane is flying over my house. Except that doesn't work for Millbrae, because the noise, the greatest part of the noise we get is in back of us. I joined the Roundtable in 2016. We created the Ground-Based Noise Committee in 2019. COVID got in the way, but one of our main things was to do maps that would reflect the noise that those of us in Millbrae and Hillsborough and Burlingame experience from every departure. Not one of these maps does that. Now, in the approved work plan that you have, it's item 6C, you have do a satellite map. Well, and I took a map class and I used noise from SFO on one of my examples of how a map tells the wrong story. It completely ignores the noise in back. Now you can see the reverse flow or the wintertime flow, and you say, oh, that's only 2 or 5%. But for the people living in this neighborhood right here, when those airplanes are 200 feet above and it's stormy and you're wondering if that airplane's gonna fall out of the sky, that's significant on that. This map also does not show what is happening more and more frequently, which are the flyovers, the flights that couldn't land for whatever reason, and they fly right over Central Park, right up here, right over our brand new recreation center. That is, again, how these maps do not tell a real story. So I encourage the Roundtable, with the money that the county gets 6 revenue streams from SFO, at least 6 that I found, plus the money that SFO has. They make a lot. They make $50 million alone on the permits for Uber and Lyft. You can spend a little bit of that to come up with maps that actually tell the real story. And we really do need to be accounting for reverse flow. With all the airplane accidents since 2025 happened, I wonder each day when those flights fly over, basically up Hillcrest, 3 blocks from here, fly up there, if one of them's not going to make it up on a reverse flow day. This is real. This is what the people of Millbrae experience every day, all day, and especially at night. In addition, the maps should separate out the nighttime flights, and they should separate out the passenger flights from the cargo flights. Sorry, Mark. Both San Bruno and South City have Amazon or will have Amazon warehouses. That stuff getting shipped out at the middle of the night, yay, they get sales tax.
Thank you.
We get noise. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no other public comments on that.
We have someone, do they need to fill out a card?
Mr. Remington.
Hello, again, Remy Tan, resident of Pacifica. Thank you for the presentation. That was pretty clear. But I was looking at the last page, which is the nighttime plan there, and it shows, basically all the flights going off runway 28, making the turn and going out over the bay. But in reality, that rarely happens because these are the 777s and A350s and 787s, which are usually heavily fully loaded with cargo and passengers. And from what I understand from Kathleen, who was the previous person on the Roundtable, who is a 777 pilot, those planes can't actually physically make that turn without jeopardizing and hitting San Bruno Mountain. So, I urge the Roundtable to work with the airlines and the FAA to come up with something that works with the actual aircraft that's taking off. Because this impacts us at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in Pacifica, Daly City, South San Francisco, and Brisbane area. I mean, we all get woken up at night, and these planes, because they're fully loaded, they're flying at a lower altitude. They're You know, they got their engines cranked up and they're trying to just barely clear the mountain. And, you know, after the incident in India, you know, I wondered, boy, if, you know, they lose one engine or two engines, they're going to be into our houses. And then, you know, echoing what our Darlene and Ann was saying about the air pollution, you know, I've gone out on my deck late at night after being woken up by these planes to look at something, and I can smell the jet fuel, the pollution from these heavy aircraft. So I think that, you know, we got to look at seeing if these flights can go out during the day where they're not disturbing, and just kind of shut down these overnight flights, because they, you know, it's not fair to all the residents. And, you know, I hear it pretty loud, and I'm unfortunately not in the area where you get the upgraded windows, so we're kind of stuck with it. And it's probably 90% of the people in our neighborhoods are not within that type area. So I, you know, hope you know, we can have.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Great, thank you. Good points. All right, we will close public comment and go, yeah, Patrick.
I just had a quick question, and not everybody's a pilot and knows about the airports, but I was wondering if we could have a guide that shows us the runway numbers, and then when we go to the reference, we know which way it's going, and just have a little table on the bottom on Oakland and SFO.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. Did you hear that, Jason? Yeah, put the runway numbers. I think that'd be helpful.
I did, noted.
Yeah. Jean. Well, we've heard from public comment, and that was, oh, yeah, Rebecca?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for putting this together. I guess the other suggestion that I would have is to list the cities so that they're visible on the map. I'm not sure that we necessarily need the terrain, but definitely need the name of the cities so that we have a better sense of who's impacted the most. Clearly, those that are really suffering from very high noise are those communities that live right around the airport. But as someone in Portola Valley and one of the 20-some-odd individuals that routinely logs the very high noise that we hear also in Portola Valley, most of the flights that I log are all arrivals. They're not departures. So I don't know if there's a big difference. Obviously, the planes are slowing down. They're putting on brakes, which are noisy. So this map doesn't so much show that issue because we're much further south. So it would be helpful from my perspective to see Portola Valley, to see those planes that are going across. To see the planes that are going across the peninsula there where Portola Valley and Woodside are located, because that's certainly a big route that all the planes take when they're coming in to land at SFO.
Patrick.
And then the other thing is I would like to see, and this is just a question I have, is like to be able to see a marker, like let's say Atherton's high, this meeting that we're seeing, have it marked uniquely in a way, and then see another city that's marked so that we're seeing a trend so we can actually quickly see based on the previous meeting and then now this meeting to see if there's a trend change or something like that. So if it's marked, let's say Portola Valley and Foster City, which we're drilling on today, to see if those are high numbers and legit numbers, because we heard that the robotic calls, that doesn't count. So legit calls, are they high? Can they be marked? And so that we can see, is there a change, if there's any changes on the map, so we can see it here.
Good point. Christine.
Where I'm struggling, because I live near Mr. Remington and hear the planes a lot at night. So the first flow usage map that shows the red arrow, which is the West Plan, which is 95 to 98% of the flights, is the one that goes over our homes. I think that's called the gap, and that's not shown on the nighttime plan. But if you look at Bert's noise reports, and I have the one from May pulled up on my screen, that still shows that in gray on those. And if you look at the number of flights on the gray flights, like between 1 and 2 a.m., 200 of the 275 flights are going through our neighborhood. And that gray plan is what this seems to say. So that seems like a big missing piece of the nighttime map, because we're still getting a lot of flights.
Yeah, I think what all these comments are saying is that these maps are the ideal, and we are all questioning what's the reality. So I think, Jason, what would be really useful is, could we get an overlay of actual flights, maybe focus on some busy times, 5:30 to 7:30 in the morning when it's busy, 10:30 to 12:30 at night, certainly 1 to 5 a.m., the night times. I think it would be great if we could get not so many that it turns into a big blob, but just what's the reality? Take a day or a week or something, and let's see what's actually happening other than the ideal.
Yep, I think you said it perfectly. So when we made this presentation, it wasn't meant to be comprehensive and show every single flight path. It was made more to show the intent and the direction that the aircraft are, I guess, supposed to fly. But all sorts of things, change and take aircraft off the prescribed routes. They get shortcuts. They have to go in front of other aircraft if they're losing their separation. The nighttime plan, again, used to the maximum extent possible, but not everybody is going to be on those departure or arrival procedures 100% of the time. So, I've taken the comments down, and we can provide something that shows, where the actual flights are going, to better depict how all the neighborhoods are impacted. But you hit the nail on the head. It is just to show kind of, the intent of the West Plan, the intent of the Southeast Plan, and the intent of the nighttime plan.
Well, that would be really helpful to the TWG, because that will help us as we're working on the Fly Quiet program. What airlines are we dealing with? What's happening? Vanessa, yes.
Can I also just suggest to the roundtable members, this might be also something that we can work closely with Bert in the airport noise office to get those maps that have that kind of visual imagery, so that it's easy for us to understand. Because I think Bert does, and correct me if I'm wrong, you do the kind of noise analysis. So maybe it's something that we can have a visual representation. So we'll work with HMMH, and we'll also work with the airport for that.
Recommend looking at the director's report. The monthly noise reports map is a PIN map that it indicates the number of calls.
Yeah, we can compare that. All right, anything else on this side? Darlene, I apologize. We've already closed public comment, and I'm trying to adjourn on time. But feel free to send your comments in. They're always good, and we like to listen to them. Patrick, did you have something else?
What would be nice, too, would be able to know when the calls were made and what the time that the problem was, so we can start monitoring. It's 11 o'clock over Portola Valley. Then we know we have something that's changed.
Right, rather than the number of calls and where they're from, yeah. But because I know we do have that data.
We do, but
Yeah.
we're talking 70,000 calls a month.
Okay. All right, so we'll talk about that in the technical working group, how we can best wrestle that into some kind of useful information. So this is an opportunity for roundtable members to share updates from their jurisdictions, highlight recent developments, or discuss relevant activities related to airport noise and community impacts. Before we adjourn, do we have any member comments? Anything that anyone wants to share? Yes,
Just
Paul.
one very quick one. I just wanted to thank the members of our public who show up all the time, Mr. Tan and Darlene Yapley, who show up. We appreciate your input. And we know in our own city council meetings that a lot of the same people always show up. That's probably true here, but I appreciate the fact that you take the time, show up and make your comments. They're always on point. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Well said. True.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Bert.
Like to recognize some of our student interns that are here this evening. So if you wouldn't mind standing up.
Please
We
introduce yourselves. Yeah.
Philip?
Hi, my name is Nico Andrade. I'm a student intern with the Noise Installation Program. I'm in the UC Berkeley, and I study civil engineering. And I'm very excited to be here to help out the community.
Wonderful. Welcome. Do we have another intern? No, okay. All right, welcome, great, thank you, thank you.
Member of the community.
Okay. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. We really appreciate it. Any other input from any members? All right. Thank you very much. And thank you to Vanessa and Diane for their hard work. And thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Bert. We are adjourned.